Hi everybody, welcome back. We're going to continue on now and we're going to start to pose the arms. We'll get some basic arm movement in and we'll kind of continue tweaking the body and so on. Alright, so with the arms, what we want to do is grab the wrist controls, okay, and we just need to move these down. Now, on frame 1, the left hand is actually going to be back and the right hand is going to be forward because the arms will move opposite to the feet, and that's so that the character can actually balance and stay upright. So that's the way that humans walk, and you'll find a lot of sort of primates will walk like that as well, monkeys and things, and apes. So let's set something like that up. I'm going to bring, just use the move tool and grab both handles. So I'll grab the move tool and just bring both wrist controls down. Now, obviously they'll only stretch so far, so once you sort of get them down to an angle like that, we can then start moving them in towards the body. So I'm going to bring them in like that. Okay. And once again, these don't have to be identical on either side. You know, you can get them sort of roughly close together. Okay, and obviously you'll find that, you know, when you push this in, the elbows are going to go in a bit, and that's because the hands are still sticking out sideways. What we then need to do is rotate them around. So if I rotate the hands down like that, you can see that the elbow will follow that elbow control and it will start to kind of stick out the right direction again. Okay, so just here on this initial position, I'm just going to rotate these down like this. So I'm going to go about minus 90 degrees. Whoops, that's minus 901. So same thing here, this is going to be about 90 degrees. So the hands basically at this point are pointing straight down like this. And you can see that they're roughly the same on both sides. This one might be a bit closer to the body, but that's okay. You know, we can just grab the move tool and just kind of tuck that in a bit. Okay. And if you want, you know, you can grab the elbow positions and you can move those around to make the elbow stick out a bit more, but I'm kind of happy with this position for now. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to position the hands forwards and backwards. So the left foot's forward at frame 1, so that means the left hand is going to be backwards like this. So I'm just going to push that back a bit like that, and I'm going to grab the right hand and I'm going to bring that forwards a bit. Okay. Now, we don't necessarily want to pull them so far forward that the arms go completely straight. Okay, so just bring them forward a bit like that. Then what we want to do is we want to angle the hands sort of towards the direction they're moving. So I'm going to grab the rotate tool and I'm just going to bring this hand forward a bit like this. Okay, do the same thing on the back hand, like that. Okay. And with the rear hand, what I'm going to do is just twist it back a bit, like that, so that basically what I'm doing is twisting it so that the thumb is kind of starting to move outwards this way, and the elbow is kind of tucking in behind the character. All right, on the front hand over here, I'm going to do it the other way around. So I'm going to point the elbow sort of out a bit more, like this. Okay. Now, that position is going to be the same on frame 33 for both of those. So I'm going to select one hand. I'm going to right click and copy it, go down to 33, and I'm going to paste it. Then grab the other hand controller or wrist control, jump back to 1, right click on it, copy it, down to 33 and paste it like that. Okay, so now on frame 17, what we need to do is reverse the positions in the same way we did with the feet. So I'm going to start off by positioning the menu here, just the corner of this menu, towards the middle of the control handle on this arm, and I'm going to use the move tool and move this arm across to that one. So let's just bring that across. So we want to get this roughly in position, and we're going to rotate this around like that, so it's at approximately the same angle, and then we're going to rotate this in a bit so it's sort of similar to the other one. Keep in mind it's not going to be identical, so don't worry too much about trying to get it to match exactly. We just need it to be pretty close. Okay, so something like that. Now once again, we don't necessarily want the arm to be absolutely perfectly straight, so just nudge it so it's a little bit bent. There we go. And then what we'll do is we'll sort of move down to frame 1, and we'll position our little menu to the middle of the other arm, then jump back to 17 and grab the right arm and move that back into position over here like this, and then we rotate that hand. So with this hand, it's going to come sort of down like this, and then it's going to get spun around this way a bit. It's not going to be tucked in that far, but it's going to be something like that. Okay, so the result of that is that the hands now sort of swing with the body. So if I zoom that out a little bit, turn off the rotate tool and hit play, you can see that the hands are sort of now counter moving with the legs. And once again, we can go in and now refine some of that movement. So let's start off with in-betweens on frame 9 and frame 25. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the left hand. All right, so at frame 1, it's then going to start moving forward like this. So on frame 9, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate the hand so that the fingers are sort of back a little bit like this, just a little bit. So the hand starts off kind of straight, the arm is straight, and then as the arm swings forward, the hand kind of drags behind it. Then as we get up to 17, I'm going to continue to have that hand sort of pointing back a little bit like this. So if we're looking along the arm, the direction the arm's swinging this way, and the hand is kind of pointing this way, sort of backwards, like that. So what we're doing is adding a slight overlapping animation here, a slight delay on the hand. So the arm moves forward and then the hand kind of drags behind it, okay, when it gets to 17. Now at 17 it's going to be here, but as it gets up to frame 25, okay, frame 25, the arm is now moving back this way. So what I want to do is have the hand drag in the other direction. So I'm going to rotate it this way around so the hand's a little bit forward, like that. So now what we get, if we have a look over here, if I turn the tool off, so frame 1, you can see that this is straight, okay? Frame 9, it starts to drag behind the hand, just here, and it's pointing backwards. Then as we get up to frame 17, it's still behind, still pointing backwards. And then as the arm comes this way, it actually changes and the hand starts to point back this way. Then it gets back to here again. Okay, so 1 and 33 are the same. So we want to repeat that with the other hand. So I'm going to grab the other hand, go frame 9, and in this case, this hand is coming backwards. The arm is moving backwards. So on frame 9, I want to grab the rotate tool, and I actually want to rotate this hand forward a bit, like this. Okay, on 17, it's going to be the same, because it's still kind of moving back like that. Then on 25, it's actually coming back the other way now, so we need to point it back the other way, like this. until it gets back to 33, which is the same as 1. So if we have a quick look at that, so now you can see that the hands are kind of almost dangling behind the character as the character's arm moves. Okay. So now what we can do is we could even go in and start to play with some in-betweens between these frames, right? So on frame 1, okay, this arm is sort of back here and it starts to swing. What I'd like to do is sort of add a bit of almost like an additional delay. Now you can see that between frame 1 and frame 5, there's very little movement on the arm. And the arm doesn't move until sort of the foot moves. What I want to do is actually counter move the arm a little bit. You can play around with this a bit. You can experiment with this a little, but what I'm going to do is sort of just bring the arm back a little bit like this on frame 5. So what we get is the arm actually lifting up and then coming through and following the foot. And this way, it just makes it sort of look as though the foot and the arm aren't moving at the same position and speed. It kind of breaks the uniformity of it up a little bit. So we just kind of lift that hand back and then the arm comes forward like this. Now I'm going to do the same thing here. So on 17, where it's all the way forward, okay, from this point it would move back. So what I want to do is go to frame 21 just here and actually move it back this way more. And if I take a look at where the position on 17 is, which is just there, if I go to 21 and make sure that it's actually further forward than that position, then what I'm going to get is this kind of swing through like that. So I'm going to repeat that with the other hand. All right, so where the this hand's forward, okay, on oops, let's go on frame 1 with the right hand. So that's where the wrist position is. On frame 5, I'm going to bring this forward like this. Okay, then we're going to move down the timeline. Okay, so at this point at 17, it's as far back as it normally is. So I'm going to place the corner of that there. And on frame 21, I want to move this back like this. And it can go up a little bit, that's fine. And then it's going to come forward like that. So if we watch that now, we should be able to see something happening there. So it's becoming a little bit more fluid now. Okay, now some of you might be able to see like a little click that's occurring. What's happening there, that click is occurring because frame 1 and frame 33 are identical. Okay, the positions are the exact same for the model on both of those frames. When we render this, we won't be rendering frame 33. So the cycle will actually go through to frame 32, which is this position here. So you can see if I go kind of jump between frame 1 and frame 32, there is an actual difference between those positions. You can see it moves a little bit. All right. So if I was to shorten the timeline by 1 frame, so we only go to 32, so you just click and drag on this box to 32. If I rewind that and play it, it's now removing that little click that we were seeing before. So it's a lot smoother now. So that's not an issue with the animation. That's actually just because we've got a duplicated frame in there. But it's having that extra frame 33 that's allowing us to create a loop from 32 back to 1. Okay. So that's working quite well. That arm movement's all right. So in the next video, what we'll do is we'll actually kind of refine the body movement a little bit. What we'll do is we'll add some slight twisting to the torso to kind of match with the foot positions. We will need to kind of readjust the arm movements a little bit because of that torso twist. Basically, on frame 1 here, the torso needs to kind of twist sort of this way a little bit, which means this shoulder is going to come forward a bit and this one's going to go backwards a little bit. All right. Technically speaking, what we tend to do is actually counter-rotate the shoulders to the torso or to the pelvis. This character hasn't got any differentiation between the shoulders and the pelvis because it's all sort of limited within this section of the model. Okay, so there's nothing really in there that allows us to twist them independently. So what we're going to have to do is use the shoulder controls. Now that will make it look as though the arms are actually sliding around a little bit on the body, so we can kind of play around with it a bit and see sort of how we can get it to work in a nice effective way. But next video, what we'll be doing is actually making some adjustments to the body. So I'll see you then.